Hi, my name's Fiona and I'm Customer Relationship Manager at PTFS Europe. My role is very varied, but two key components of my work is that I work alongside new customers on implementing the Koha Library Management System, and also going forward, I look after our entire customer base across all sectors. My presentation today is to provide you with a brief overview of Koha and talk about some of its fantastic features that work with the open source community. Okay, so first of all, Koha originated in New Zealand in 1999. So it's a relatively mature system now. It does, to the term Koha means gift. It's a Maori term and it really sums up the ethos of Koha. It's open source, therefore there are no licensing restrictions, and indeed it is free software that you can download and install yourself. One of the massive advantages that Koha has over other systems is that it is fully web-based, and indeed it has been from its inception, both the OPAC and the staff interface. There is a worldwide community that looks after Koha, and that ranges from developers to librarians to support staff, and they all work together on new features and generally keep Koha very up to date and take on board any feedback from any of its users. With all the work that's carried out on Koha, it is fed automatically back into the core product. So absolutely every Koha user can take full advantage and reaps all the benefits from all the work that's carried out from everybody across the globe. There are two major releases annually, but PTFS Europe would recommend an annual upgrade. But that does ensure that as our customers, you are being kept up to date with all the new enhancements and functionality that's been added to the product. Koha as a library management system is very rich in functionality. It's modular, so has modules available for all your standard library functions. So for example, there's a circulation module, there is a serials module, there's a reports module, etc. As delivered, you do have access to all the modules, but going forward, your staff logins would then dictate what permissions you had to the system. So some of those areas, like the Koha administration area, for example, you would want to tightly control who had access to that. Koha as a product is also very highly configurable, and I'm sure all our existing customers would agree that they're offered a huge raft of tools and are very easily able to make changes that take effect immediately and are able to control the appearance and behaviour of Koha to meet their library needs. One of its other highly desirable features is that both the staff interface and the OPAC use responsive technology. So that does mean, of course, that you can the screen will resize itself depending upon the device that you're using. So whether it be a laptop screen or an iPad screen or a mobile phone. So that does remove the need to have a separate app. So I'll just provide a very quick demonstration on that for you. And this is using our demo system, so using our OPAC. So this gives you a quick look at our demonstration system, where we have it branded in the middle with a cover flow, and we've got navigational links down the left-hand side and so on. I want to draw your attention to this option at the top to log into your account with the person and the text, and the way that this is displayed with the search index appearing at the left-hand side, search box in the middle, and the option to select the library at the right-hand side. So I'm just going to enter in a search term, good old economics, my go-to search term. And this is how the search results screen will display by default using my screen, which is a laptop. So you can see that the search results appear sort of 2/3 of the screen. You've got the options to place reservations and so on at the bottom. And we've got our facets at the left-hand side, allowing us to refine our search. To show you how it adjusts itself, if I click on this to change its appearance, and then if I just pull it in slightly, you can see that it's starting to resize and move about. And when I scroll to the top, the text to log into your account is no longer there, but the little person icon is, and I think that's pretty standard across websites nowadays, that people would know to use that for logging in. Our facets have disappeared from the left-hand side, and now we've got a link to refine our search, which if we clicked on that would give us our facets to allow us to filter. And we can see that our search results have been presented, they've gone closer into the middle of the screen. If I pull it in a little bit more, as if I was going to be working on a mobile phone, you can see again, it resizes itself accordingly, and our search box with the library and the index selectors are now appearing underneath each other on this display. And when we scroll down, again, you can see that the search results have resized, and you've got your links that I showed you before appearing as separate buttons. Okay, so that just gives you a quick idea of how the Koha OPAC can be resized easily. So I'll just go back to our presentation. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is how easy Koha is to navigate. As it's web-based, you can move between records very easily. You can always use your browser back to return you to various places, but even within records, it's incredibly easy to navigate. So I just thought the best way to describe that to you is simply to show you. So I'll just click in my staff side. So this is our staff interface, and as I said in the previous slide, it's very rich in functionality and offers access to all different modules. So this gives you an example of the buttons that are available to you here. But for the purpose of this quick demo, I'm just going to look up my user record. And once I'm in my user record, you can see, as you would expect, that you can have access into the loans area, so you can see what I've got out on loan. And each of these acts as hyperlinks. So we've got a link into our title, a link into our item record, for example. So let me just use this one. I'll just click on the title, and it's pulled it through for me. From here, if I wanted to, I could navigate back into the user record. Incidentally, because it is browser-based, there's no limit to the number of tabs that you work with. So if your preferred way of working is to have multiple tabs, you can do that. So for example, if I click my name on the link and click to open the link in the new tab, there we go. I've got my user record in one tab and the catalogue record in a second tab. From here also, I can click on subject heading. So if I wanted to see what else was in this particular genre, then I can action that without having to repeat my search. So again, I can open the link in a new tab and I get my catalogue results. Okay, so there's no limit to the number of tabs you want to work with, or you can use them all from within the one record if you wanted to. And again, just to show, I can go into the specific copy record if I wanted to at this point by clicking on the barcode to make any changes. So for example, if I wanted to mark this one as a missing item, then I can do so very easily without having to actually go through an edit procedure. Okay, back to the presentation. I mentioned before about that there's a reports module with Koha. And I should stress that the reporting module is very functionally rich. Every field within every record is stored in the Koha database. So in theory, you should be able to get all that information out. It does store it using a MySQL database, but you don't need to be an SQL expert in order to write your own reports. The PTFS Europe Help Desk will assist you with report writing, but in addition to that, the Koha community have produced a reports library which is continually added to by members of the Koha world. So we come into this page and we've got separate tabs specifically for reports for holds, patrons and circulation. But those aside, just scrolling down gives you an idea of how many reports there are that we can then use. Now, because it's a web page as well, we can search for it. So if we're looking for something in particular, we can do a search to locate that. So here's an example, count of URLs from 856, or if I want to go to the next one, we can get a list of URLs. So if that's what I'm interested in, I could then say that I'll just copy that SQL and paste it in as my query when I run my own report. Obviously, there may be some changes that you need to make it specific to your library, but it is a very good starting point. And certainly as at PTFS, always look to the library before we start writing our own reports. Why reinvent the wheel when there's something already there? I previously mentioned that Koha was highly configurable, but you can take it one step further if you wish, and you can apply some jQuery or CSS or HTML to both the staff interface and the OPAC. So those bits of coding would allow you to make necessary changes like changing colours or changing labels, adding buttons, inserting some content, putting links in places, etc. And yes, if you're familiar with those bits of code, you can go on and do them yourself. The PTFS Europe Help Desk will also provide support in those areas. And once again, there are libraries available through the Koha community. So for example, here is our jQuery library. So I hope you're realizing that the Koha is more, it's a big team that looks after it and everybody works together. And I think that really benefits everybody. Support companies like ourselves really benefit from that, as well as our individual customers. My final slide is looking at integrations. Now, Koha obviously is a library management system, but in modern libraries, a whole raft of other systems are used in everyday life. We're very proud to be able to offer integration services for Koha to talk to these other systems, and we will work with you during the implementations to set these up. However, people would maybe defer some of these areas, or going forward would maybe want to start introducing some of them. So the integration side of it can be done at any time. This slide just lists some of the most common integrations, and we're always interested in hearing about new projects as well. So for example, one of the key areas that we're asked to integrate with is discovery platforms. So typically EBSCO Discovery Service, Summon, ViewFind, and Lucy is actually going to provide a quick demo of the EDS integration in her presentation. More and more libraries now offer self-issue units so that the library members can check items out for themselves without having to come to a counter, and we help with setting them up using the SIP2 technology. Similarly with the lap safe lockers for laptops, so if you're interested in pursuing that, we're more than happy to work with you on that basis. Overdue notices, hold pickup notices, etc. can be emailed out to the users. But if you're interested in sending them via text message, then we can do some integration work there. And very crucially within the sectors, we have authentication methods using LDAP, Shibboleth, SAML. We've got experience of integrating with all of those. And similarly with a student registry, we can have regular feeds going from your student registry system into Koha. And we can use EDI for acquisitions, and a couple of others at the bottom there to do with finances. Koha comes with PayPal as standard, so that can just be enabled, and you can start using PayPal as providing you've got a merchant account. But we can integrate with some other e-payment systems out there, like Capita, Civica payment systems, etc. We can also integrate with a finance system for paying invoices, etc. when it comes to acquisitions. So this is just a brief list of integration projects that we have worked with in the past, but I'm sure there's plenty more that we'd be willing to take on as well. So a very quick overview of the Koha Library Management System. I hope you found it useful. I'm happy to take questions.